Have you heard the term the petrodollar?
I have.
Yes, the US dollar. A lot of Middle Eastern currencies, a lot of transactions in petroleum are linked to the US dollar. So it ends up being the currency that sort of controls the flow of energy.
So because we have the world's reserve currency, this United States dollar, it has more power. Your paycheck has more buying power, your savings have more value because we're the world's reserve currency. And you're kind of hinting at that one of the reasons why we are holding on to the world's reserve currency is because we're the world's largest economy. If we are surpassed by China, China becomes the world's largest economy. Is the concern now that the Chinese yuan could replace the dollar as the world's reserve currency? Because a lot of people say there's no way that the yuan could take the place of the dollar.
That's a fair assessment, and it wouldn't happen overnight. But again, we have to look at world history. And the global reserve currency has been replaced in the past. The pound sterling, the Great British Pound, was the global reserve currency for a long time. I believe it started back in the Victorian era, maybe even before that, but through sort of the bulk of British colonialism, the pound sterling was the global reserve currency. And it took 2 world wars, the complete obliteration of the manufacturing capability of the United Kingdom, and the rise of US dominance, world dominance, to sort of replace it. Now, a lot of our allies are actually treaty bound to use the US dollar as a global reserve currency. And what we see is a lot of smaller nations just kind of follow suit. Basically, everybody's doing it, so they do it too. But we've seen this rise, especially in the Chinese-led BRICS alliance, of Chinese RMB, the Chinese yuan, becoming a larger part of the currency reserves of various nations, both within the BRICS alliance and without.
So I want to talk more about a couple of things you just mentioned, which is this BRICS alliance. But I want to go back to what you said about the petrodollar just for a second, because the United States dollar used to be backed by physical gold. And so what that meant was the dollar had value, not just because it was the world's reserve currency, but because there was this wealth or gold that backed it. That changed in 1971 when then President Richard Nixon took the dollar off of the gold standard. After 1971, now the dollar became fiat currency. It's just backed by a promise that this dollar has value. Then 1974 was when this petrodollar system was established, which was where the United States and Saudi Arabia worked together to say, hey, all oil transactions globally have to be priced in the United States dollar. Why does that matter? Like you mentioned, if transactions are happening with the United States dollar around the world, people naturally have trust in the dollar because they're using the dollar. But you mentioned this idea of treaties in NATO to use the United States dollar. Well, the petrodollar system started between the United States and Saudi Arabia, where they said, we're going to sell all oil in the United States dollar. As of just a few years ago, Saudi Arabia started selling oil in the Chinese yuan. So that is where now people are starting to get concerned that, sure, maybe the United States dollar was valued because of oil, but we're starting to lose that value, and the Chinese yuan is starting to pick that up. So why does that matter now for somebody listening to this?
So there's a lot of things to cover here, and I think it's good to just, for hygiene, go over the basics of what fiat currency actually is. So yes, the dollar was moved off of the gold standard. All the world currencies were moved off of the gold standard. One of the reasons that we did that is because we weren't pulling gold out of the ground fast enough. There's just not enough gold. And so it actually limits your ability to grow your GDP by how much gold you can sort of amass to back it. Now, fiat is a Latin word meaning proclaimed or to proclaim. A lot of people like to say that fiat currencies are kind of worth nothing. That's not true. It's worth the economic power of the United States. It is for all debts, public and private. That is a mandate. You have to use the US dollar in the United States. And as long as our government is around, the US dollar will have value. Now, by being a reserve currency and being something like the petrodollar, it adds to that value because it says not only will you always be able to go back and purchase things in the United States, but you'll be able to conduct oil transactions. You'll be able to sort of have this purchasing power in the global economy and not just in the US. And so it gives the value to this dollar and protects the dollar from a lot of hyperinflation, from a lot of deflationary practices. And as that erodes over time, so does the economic power of the United States.
Because of all the changes happening in the economy right now, I'm hosting a live, free, and virtual investor workshop on June 16th at 12 p.m. Eastern Time, noon, where I'm going to be going over number one, how the economy is changing, and number two, how you can build wealth through these changes in the economy. That way you can build wealth outside of just your 401k, outside of just your house, because when you have all these changes happening with money, all these changes happening in our government, all these changes happening with AI and technologies, all of these create panic, but they also create opportunities. And some people are going to become incredibly wealthy because of them. And on June 16th, I'm going to be showing you my firm's research as to where money is moving and how we can create better investment opportunities for you. It's a free workshop and it's live, but you do have to register to reserve your spot because our software has a limited number of people that can actually join us live. And in the past, when I've done these live workshops, we've hit capacity every single time. And as an added bonus, when you sign up for the investor workshop, you're also going to get Market Briefs, which is my newsletter for investors, completely free. It's read by hundreds of thousands of investors every morning. And when you show up live on my investor workshop on June 16th at 12 p.m. Eastern Time, noon, you're also going to get a free digital copy of my company's new book, How Money Changed Forever. But to actually get a digital copy of this book, you have to actually show up live on June 16th at 12 p.m. Eastern Time, noon. So if you're an investor, I invite you to join me for a live investor workshop on June 16th. If you have not registered yet, again, I have that link for you down in the description below.
Well, you mentioned something very interesting, that the United States says you have to transact with the United States dollar.
Yes.
But the Trump administration has also been pretty in favor of crypto, Bitcoin specifically. And so we've heard about, the strategic Bitcoin reserve and all these other things. So wouldn't this whole idea of Bitcoin, especially if the United States is supporting it, kind of counteract the value of the United States dollar?
If you think of cryptocurrency as currency, yes, but we also keep strategic reserves of other currencies as well, and we keep strategic reserves of things like gold. In its current iteration, cryptocurrency is more of a commodity than it is a currency. It's not good for transactions. Bitcoin specifically, the node structure is fairly old. It takes a long time. If you were to ever have a credit card that used Bitcoin and you swiped it at the grocery store, it would take about half an hour for that transaction to go through.
Wow.
And there are people, I know people who call themselves Bitcoin Standard, which means they believe it is the currency of the future and what everyone will use. And they actually go to the store, and when they tap their card or tap their phone, they're using a service that converts it back to US dollars to then do the transaction, because the grocery store takes US dollars. It doesn't really weaken the dollar as long as there's not this widespread adoption of Bitcoin or of cryptocurrencies. We've seen a large push towards stablecoins. That's kind of the hot new term. There's been a lot of talk that the US might have a stablecoin.
What is a stablecoin?
A stablecoin is a cryptocurrency that is tied to a specific asset to make sure that it is stable.
So like the United States dollar?
Yes, most of them, almost all of them are actually pegged to the United States dollar. And that is actually good for the dollar. It adds more of that, we'll say, global certainty, right? More of that power, because it's not just the currency of the United States, it's also the currency of anyone using a stablecoin like Tether. And if you look at the developing world, they are largely adopting stablecoin practices and digital currencies. If you look at rural and agricultural areas in the world, South America, parts of sub-Saharan Africa, they'll have a lot of countries and a lot of currencies and very little banking infrastructure over a fairly large area. And so it's not uncommon for somebody to cross a border into a new country and work there for 3 to 6 months, get paid in different currency, have difficulty getting that back in their home currency or spending it at home or sending it home. And digital banking and digital currencies are changing a lot of that. And the result is a lot of them are using stablecoins that are tied to the US dollar. So those are actually becoming US dollar economies, and they don't even know it.
Wow, I never even thought about it that way. But I want to go back to China.
Yeah.
Now, so we've kind of established that globally, well, maybe let me re-ask you this. Is the dollar then losing status globally, or is it gaining status globally based off of the discussion of stablecoins?
On stablecoins and digital currencies, I think the US dollar is actually gaining stability. The US dollar is under more threat now than it has been in the past. It's not a sure thing that de-dollarization is going to happen. It certainly will not happen in the short term. And if it does happen, it will be a long, slow process. The threat is growing, but we're not there yet. It's this idea of the doomsday clock, right? We're kind of counting down towards some big catastrophic event. The dollar is sort of approaching, it's becoming more vulnerable. It's approaching the possibility of some sort of black swan event or major economic change threatening its reserve status.
If you enjoyed this clip and you want to watch the entire conversation, all you got to do is click that button right over there. And for those of you who want to stay up to date on the top finance and business news, you can join Market Briefs, my free financial newsletter, by clicking that button below. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.